Hey, leaders. Welcome to the People Power Project podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Carey, CEO of Morgan Carey Consulting Solutions, Chief HR Strategist and Advocate for building better workplaces. This podcast is all about empowering the leader in you, whether you're an individual contributor, a manager, or a business owner, to build better, safer, and more accountable work environments. Together, we'll reinvent HR and develop outstanding leadership by promoting accountability and exploring ways to foster growth for the busy business leader. I am so excited today, so excited, but it's not a regular excited because I'm super excited. I got a very special episode. Not only are we continuing the conversation on accountability, but we're also talking about following your dreams today, but not just that. I know you see him. I know you see him on the screen. We are doing it with my very first guest, my big brother. And he's not just my brother, y'all. He's Jason J. Boy Carey, a dynamic award-winning professional, host, MC, multimedia personality, and creative entrepreneur. Jason has carved out a remarkable career in entertainment and business, taking him across the world, earning him the nickname International J Boy. But to me, he's just Jay. He's just Jay. He has been the host of the Tom Joyner Cruise, host the Essence Festival main stage, tour host for Ford Motors and Toyota, and the winner of Essence Festival People's Choice Award as a host. There's so much more, but if I keep going, the intro gonna be way too long. So, from his impactful work as an event host and media personality to his dedication to empowering others through strategic marketing and networking, Jason brings so much knowledge and inspiration to the table. So, get ready for an engaging conversation filled with insights, motivation, and strategic strategies for success. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Where the champagne? We got to pop the champagne first episode. Let's go, Morgan.
Hey.
Hey,
Yes, I'm so excited about this episode. I'm probably a little too excited. I'm nervous. I'm stumbling over the words, but I'm just excited. Jay, do you realize how pivotal this is, though? We've never done anything like this
it's
before.
crazy. It's crazy. As much as we talk,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
a shame.
Yeah.
It is a shame that we haven't done this, but more to come.
More to come.
More to
More to
come.
come.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to thank you for being here and being my very first guest. I couldn't have thought of a better way to continue talking about what I've been talking about lately, accountability, feedback, but I couldn't think of a better way to kick off having guests than to interview somebody that I admire so much and look up to as my big brother.
And my twin, my twin sister, y'all.
I know people looking at the screen like, what?
Yeah.
But Jake, since you're usually the one that's in the spotlight, creating, producing, and hosting, do you have any pointers for your little sister who is starting this new chapter of podcasting?
One, be yourself. You know what I mean? I think that the biggest thing is people get on to become podcasters and try to be a podcaster. And that's where you messing up. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to be a
Yeah,
podcaster, just be you,
be you.
and you
Yeah, that's
have
good.
the skill and the knowledge. So just be you. And remember that you not only is this informative, it's also entertainment. So entertain your guests, keep them engaged. There you go. That's
Yeah,
I can give you more, and we can talk. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think that is
yeah,
just good advice right there.
yeah. Maybe we bring you back to talk about the success of
Oh
podcasting,
man,
how to be a successful
I got
podcaster.
so much.
Yeah, yeah. Hey. All right, so I'm definitely gonna keep that note though. Be yourself. Remember to be
Yeah.
yourself. Now, I know we have a lot to dive into today. And so I just want to start in a place that sometimes people may not know because it's been a while and you've done so much, right? You've accomplished so much in your lifetime. You're an honors graduate from one of the best
Aggie
HBCUs in the
Broad.
country.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina A&T. You are a world-renowned host and MC, hosting and performing in all parts of the world. You've been, I don't know, I don't even want to start naming countries, but Europe, Jamaica. I mean, you've been everywhere. And then even stateside, from New York to Florida to California. But that was not always the case. right out of college, you went into corporate like many of us do.
Hmm.
So what I want to talk about today is your transition out of corporate world to entrepreneurship, how you came to the decision, did your management play a part in any of your decision making, and how has accountability shaped your journey? So let's get into it.
That's big. So which one of them questions you want me to answer first?
Yeah. Well, I got a specific question coming up. Okay. How has accountability or the lack of it impacted your career decisions?
Oh man, accountability, um, big time, big time. It's funny because I had this conversation because I have mentees too, and I have this conversation quite often. One of the things that I think accountability is so big, and it was taught in our household. You know,
Yeah.
pops was big on that. Moms too, but pops was definitely like, if you say you're gonna do something, do it. You know what I mean? Or if you say you're gonna be
Yeah.
somewhere, be there. You know,
Yeah.
and so that and playing sports and things. I always say it's things you can learn in football that you don't learn that you can't learn anywhere else.
Yeah.
Playing organized sports. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, being accountable because I ain't got to answer to nobody. So you got to create,
Yeah.
and we'll get into that a little bit later in the conversation. But you got to create some level of accountability to even to yourself, to the obligation, or to the goal. Once you place a goal, you got to be accountable to the goal. But also when you're dealing with clients, you say you're gonna deliver a certain level of service, and you gotta be accountable to that, to the level of service. Because I can easily just show up. You pay me before I get there. I get paid before I say anything, so I can just lay it
Yeah.
up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
big time being accountable for where you're gonna be, how you're gonna show up, my image. It's the accountability is such a when we said you was gonna talk about this, I said that's such a big word in this.
Yeah.
And it definitely has played a major part in how I show up and how I deliver. So yes, big time.
Okay. I didn't even think about that part too. When you're holding yourself accountable, you get paid before the event even
Right.
happens, you know? So if you were a person not of their word, someone who didn't care about accountability, you could just be like, thank you.
Thank you. I'm here. You know, now it'll make your career shorter because the word gets around, and the entertainment industry is a very small world. So people start to talk like, hey, don't hire him because he don't show up on time.
Yeah. So it wouldn't bode well. Wouldn't bode well for your
Wouldn't bode
business.
well at all. But I have the option to do that. Is a new client? They don't know. I could show up and just lay it up. I'm not a drinker, but there are people that get to events and they be drunk before the event is done, and
Yeah.
that's a huge thing. Again, appearance. You be like I just did a gig last night, and one of the things that I do is like, what's the theme of the event? All right, you're asking your guests to show up in black and white. Well, I ain't gonna show up in green. I'm gonna show up.
Right.
So when you take the pictures, and the reason I'm like that for weddings and everything, is because when you take the pictures, you don't want this big sore thumb standing out in your pictures. I'm part of the scene, and that's my
Yeah.
obligation to hold myself accountable to your event and to with the aesthetic that you're asking for. So yeah, man,
Yeah. Absolutely. Sounds like accountability requires some level of consideration
huge,
as well.
huge.
Hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But we will
So
dive.
what lessons
It's so much more levels to that. But we'll dive into that some more. So yeah.
So, what lessons did you learn about leadership and accountability from working in corporate? If you feel like you learned any,
What
sometimes we're talking on this podcast, and people have not so great experiences when working in the corporate setting. And it's one of the purposes of the podcast, so we can build better workplaces. It's the purpose,
well
right? So, tell
well,
me.
I want to go back to the question you asked in your original statement because you were asking did the managers have something to do with me leaving corporate America? And
Yeah,
and that's part of the story that I haven't told a lot. But the answer is
yeah,
yes. I work for a company that moved you around, you know, kind of against your will a little bit. They be like, oh, I need you to go over there, I need you to go over there. And like, well, that's not convenient. That's not. I was hired in Richmond. Why am I going over here? But
yeah,
that's part of the job. But then management is kind of a revolving door, and we had a manager come in that was such a
mm,
jerk that it made the workplace environment not fun, no longer fun. I used to have a motto
mm,
like have fun and get your work done. That's my motto. It's like, cause I'm gonna have
yeah,
fun, whatever I'm doing. And the minute it stopped being fun, I ain't gonna do it no more. I'm telling you.
I'm out of here.
I'm telling you. I don't care what it is.
The minute it stopped being fun, I'm out of
I'm
here.
out of here. And so when I found myself coming to work looking for a job, that's when you know that it's time to go. Whether I was going into entrepreneurship or going to another company, it was time to go. But the management just made the work environment. It was added stress that didn't need to be there. It was kind of very callous. It's very like didn't care about what you had, who you were as an individual, or who you were to this operation. It was like, you know, and don't make me feel like that. I understand business and I understand that I'm a cog in the machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But don't make me feel like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As a man, you don't have to make your people feel like, hey, you're super replaceable. I already know that if I drop dead tomorrow, the job gonna keep going. Don't make me feel like that though.
Absolutely. That comes down to the managers having the skills in order to be people
Right.
managers. You know, one of the things I talk about a lot is managers getting promoted because they're content experts, right? But they have no clue how to deal with
Right.
people. And so and this isn't going to be a new statement, but so many times people leave managers. They don't leave jobs. They leave the people on the jobs, right? Because we could keep people, we could retain people so much more if our leaders were better.
Right.
You know, which is another purpose of the People Power Project podcast.
I'm telling you, that's one of the major reasons I left. I think God he will start pushing you in the direction that you need to go a lot of times, and so maybe this manager coming in was needed.
Right, absolutely, absolutely,
But
yeah.
that is that was part of the reason I left. Definitely part of the reason I left.
Okay, so it's not easy, Jay, to make this kind of leap. And when we're talking about accountability, we can't leave out self accountability. So I want to know, how did you hold yourself accountable while transitioning to full-time entrepreneurship? And do the same systems that you used back then, do they work today?
Systems are
Like
huge.
when you first started, yeah, when you first decided, I'm gonna take this leap, there was a level of self accountability then, and you had some systems in place, whether you recognized it or not. So I'm asking you to think back.
Yeah. Some of them. Let me say some of them. Because one of again, going back to we're at accountability. One of the things I always said is that I'm too far from home to be chilling. I'm too far from my sisters, my dad, my mom. I'm too far away from my family to just be kicking it. If I was just gonna be kicking it, I could have stayed in Richmond. So that was my level of accountability. Is like I can't sleep till 1 o'clock. Get up, feet on the floor, and what is the goal for today? Now, I got my goal for the day planned yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I don't wake up. I don't believe the day. This again, systems. I don't let the day happen to me. I make the day happen. So when I get up, I already got a purpose. And I know there's a certain time I'm gonna get up every day. And no matter if I got something on the calendar or not, something's on the calendar.
Right.
You know.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Don't let the day happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make the day happen. I'm actually reading this book called The 5 a.m. Club, and there's a phrase in there that says, "Own your morning, elevate your life." Love that. And it sounds like one of your accountability systems was to make sure you start owning your day. You own your day from the beginning. You own your morning, right? Yeah,
Because
yeah.
our mama used to say once 12 o'clock come the day is down here, you done lost the day.
You sleeping a day away. Mama
noon,
lessons, boy.
noon get here, man. I feel like, yo, the day done start.
Day,
Like if I get out the house after noon or something, like I start working in the house a lot of times, but sometimes I feel like, man, if I start moving, if I start moving too late, then the day is gone. And this is the other thing. The city that I live in creates those parameters too, because you got to account for going back to systems. I got to account for traffic, the travel time. It's like it takes a certain amount of time to get to certain places in the city. So that means I can't start late because now I got window time.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean?
you keep your schedule. Keep your schedule is important.
Right.
Knowing the things that are going to happen, like knowing the barriers, sounds important, right? And planning for those barriers.
And planning. And it's like what the phrase I just used is window time. Like when I started, so going back to your original question about systems, eliminating time wasters. That was another thing I started in the beginning. When I left corporate America, I used to have leisure activities. I played video games. I wasted. There was time, quote unquote, wasted. And when I went into full-time entrepreneurship, I had to eliminate those things. And I'm always working on eliminating time wasters. It's like, all right, I'm spending this much time. I was spending this much time on, say, a video game. Yes, people are like, well, I got to get my leisure. Well, my job is kind of leisure, so I find fun in what I'm doing anyway. But I just had to eliminate. That's one of the major systems that worked then. I sold every video game. I ain't played video games in 20 years.
Yeah,
I got rid of it.
because you figured out that's where you're losing
I
time.
lost because I lost a lot of time doing it. And I was like, that was the thing that was for me, that was a time waster. And I said I had to let that go. When I get in the car, I got an option. When I get in my car, I got an option to listen to music, make a phone call, or sit there with my thoughts. And I got to make that. This is real decisions. I got to make life decisions every time I get in. So I don't have a lot of leisure phone conversations. Like how people just kick it on the phone. Like when I was a kid, I used to kick it on the phone. I don't
have a lot of those.
I don't have a lot of leisure conversations. And I can spend time with a person one-to-one. That's great. You know what I mean? But like just kicking it on the phone, not happening. I talk to you, Mama, and Ashley a lot. I talk to y'all the longest probably. But I don't spend a lot of time on the phone.
And we appreciate it. We appreciate that. Okay. It sounds like decision making, and taking action, taking the appropriate action.
Yeah. Window time is a big thing because I used to drive home. It's 8 hours of driving to Richmond, and I would make a plan. I would even plan those drives. It's like, all right, in these 8 hours, what am I going to do? So it's 16 hours up and back. That's 16 hours. And I was like, there's no way that I can waste these 16 hours. So even like I listen to talk radio a lot because I'm a podcaster and I'm a radio personality. So I stopped listening to just music. I don't listen to like the regular radio station. I listen to talk radio because I'm studying what they're doing. I was like, I like how he introed that. I like how he threw in his affiliates and how he
studying your craft.
I'm studying. I'm always. It's like it's all work. It's like don't waste the time. Get better. Get better while I'm riding around the city. It take me all this time to ride. Get better. And plus, it's content that I like to listen to, but still, I'm getting better while I'm doing.
Getting better all the time. That's excellent. So holding yourself accountable means making the right decisions, planning, getting better, making the decision to get better, taking the action to get better all the time. And this is how you hold yourself accountable. Owning your day, owning your morning, making sure the day doesn't happen to you and you happen to it. I love it. I love it, Jay. Hosting events and running a business require trust and coordination. Can you think of a time where accountability or lack of it made or broke an event? And I'm sure you got an example.
Well, I'm trying to tell you, like, and it could be something as small as going to bed at night. Holding yourself accountable that I need to go to bed because I have to be on set at 6 a.m. and that, let me see, it had made or broke it. But that's happened to me. Like one time where I just did not hold myself accountable and I was up way too late. And I overslept. And oversleeping, well, traffic in Atlanta is not an excuse.
Right.
In a city like D.C., New York, L.A., those are not excuses because traffic's going to be there.
Every day?
Every single day. And so, what the conversation, I might tell somebody else this is the issue, but my own accountability is, Jay, you had a poor plan. You had a poor plan. Like when I wake up, if I got somewhere to go, I put it in the GPS when I wake up. So I see how long it's going to take me to get there. So I know exactly what time I got to get out the house. So
putting it in the GPS.
Yeah, because it tells before it's time to go. Because your GPS tells you what time you're going to arrive. So now I know how much time, like, I got 15 minutes before I got to get out this house. Because if I want to arrive an hour early, because that's my plan is to arrive at an event an hour to 45 minutes early, no matter what the start time is. So I know that. So now my plan is put in a GPS. It's going to take me that long to get there. If I want to hit my time, this is what I need to do. Because I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going to happen. You need to leave yourself some buffer in there. So, man, unexpected traffic, an accident, you got to go a different direction. If you plan it too tight, you're in trouble. So, in other words, going back, I don't want to amplify and go across what you said. You said where it made or make or break
Broke the event.
or lack of accountability. Like I said, I will say I did. It was early in the career, but I didn't. I stayed up too late, and I was late to an event, and the event had to start without a host, and
Tough.
it was tough because I had no real excuse. I got no excuse. You just they paid you to be here at a certain time, and the intro didn't happen the way they envisioned their intro. Yeah, somebody else could say it on the microphone, but they ain't gonna do it like me. So
Right.
it was
And
dry.
that's not what they paid for. So how did you feel when you
Oh my
felt like,
God, well that's gut wrenching. Not only because I hold myself to a very high standard, but also because you paid me for something. You paid me for an experience and I didn't give it to you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it's no amount of discount. I think I had to give, discount maybe from the balance and just to make you feel better. But it's still, that don't make a person feel better. It's like, yeah, I got some money back, but I ain't want the money. The money want the issue. I
I
wanted the
wanted you
experience.
there. Yeah,
And
I wanted you
I
there.
paid you for an experience and you were not there. And that's only happened to me one time. Hasn't happened again. It was early in my career. But now what I learned about myself is like, then if you don't go to bed at a certain time, then you don't go to bed at all. So now your punishment is that you just gonna be tired.
You've been punishing yourself. Is that what I just heard? You punish
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. That's accountability. I punish
Now you
myself.
got to stay up all night.
Yo, but listen, I learned that in the house too though. Cause moms used to say that. She's like, y'all can stay up all night if you want to. Morning gonna come. You gotta get up and go to school.
And you gotta go.
I don't care
You
how
gotta go to
tired you
school. You
are.
gotta go to church.
And I bet not get no call from school that you sleep in class. So
That's it.
that accountability, I believe, like it's in you. Like the character, that's character. When we talk about accountability, this is a character thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because there's some people that's just like, oh, I missed it. It's all right.
Right. And that's you. That's you need to look in the mirror and say that you got poor character because you can't hold yourself accountable. Like I think accountability is allowing yourself to be wrong. Like I'm wrong. I ain't always right. I can say I'm sorry. Like, there are people who can't say they're sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's because they lack the accountability. They don't hold themselves to no kind of standard of accountability. Now I ain't perfect at all. I ain't perfect at all. But especially when it comes to this space, I try to be as close to perfect as I can.
As possible,
You know,
right? But Jay, I think some of this what you're saying is what we see in the managers, and it really is something that they bring into the space,
Mhm.
right? And what I'm wondering is, can you teach it though? If we're talking about it's our character, it's coming from the household, and then because you have managers who can't say they're sorry, they can't admit that they were wrong, they can't accept the feedback, and I'm in a series now where I'm talking about giving feedback, the accountability, the radical candor. And I'm going to talk about radical candor in a second when I move it to the next question. But we have managers and leaders and business owners that can't do that. What do you think the effect, one, can they teach it, and two, what do you think the effect is on their employees, their contributors?
I don't think you can't. Let me slow down. The reason I say that is because this character that we have was taught to us. It was coached over time.
Right.
So the question is, can you coach adults? So now the people are who they are. I believe that you are most of the person that you're going to be in high school. Once you get to high school, you pretty much who you're going to be. There's some things that you're going to shape, but you was that kind of person in high school. I believe that's who you are at 40. And so
People and you know what, people typically don't change that way, or it takes them a really long time, so they may miss the window, right? So it's maybe the answer is, maybe you can't teach the character, but you can cultivate the seed
yeah,
that's there, right?
you can,
So
yes.
if so the right person needs to be in the position, and you need to be able to cultivate that seed in that person if they're not exemplifying or exercising the best managerial traits,
But
right?
you know what I think the challenge there is more. I think the question is not. I think we're asking the wrong questions in interviews because that's a character.
Mm,
I think when you're hiring these people, the accountability question, because we ask in these interviews, and you're a creative interviewer, so I think you ask different questions when you are hiring. But on average, they ask the same question no matter what the job is. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? It's the same freaking questions. I
Yeah, those
can't stand.
questions are not good. They're not
They're
good.
not good
And they
questions
get
because it
questions.
doesn't really give you a clear picture of how they're going to do the job.
Right. We need better
And I
questions. We
think,
do.
and that's something for me, even as a podcast, is another nugget for you, is I strive as a person, not just a podcast, but as a person to ask better questions. Because I think that we don't ask great questions to individuals, to
We
our
don't.
friends, and
We don't. And then before you know
we,
it, you attach to something you're not supposed to be attached to because you didn't ask the right
yes,
questions.
yes. I think we don't ask great questions just in general. Like how you doing? That's not a great question, really. How you doing? What's the fine? That's
Yeah.
you gonna get a general answer. You know what I'm saying? So I love when people ask me. This is kind of tangented, but just to give you an example of a better question. When people ask, I have friends that ask me like, "How's Jason?" Like I see what J Boy is doing. I see what like professional, but like, how's Jason?
I love that. You know, I said in my intro that you just jaded me. I always want to know how is Jason, although I don't always say Jason. I never say Jason unless I'm talking about
Yeah,
you, but when I'm talking to you, I
it's always
always
Jay.
say Jay.
Jay.
I always want to know how's Jason
Yeah.
because I can see International J Boy on the screen.
Right. You like
Yeah,
I see how your career's going. You look like you're winning over there. But
you're winning.
how is
How?
now Jason and I was
And
like,
that
yo,
is a better question.
I actually appreciate that question. When and I have select friends that are asking me that and I appreciate that
Yeah,
question. So I just say that to say it seems tangent, but I'm saying asking better questions
question.
even in interviewing to get to that point, what you're just asking is like, does this person really have the character to you know what? When I'm wrong, how do I say I'm wrong? Give me an example of when you were able to admit you're wrong.
And that is excellent right there. That question right there would be so great. Tell me, it's almost like a different version of tell me your weaknesses,
Right.
right? Because that question is not great. I think that question needs to be revamped because you can actually ask that question a different way, and you just gave a great example of how to ask it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Cause
And
they just and when they can't answer that, they're telling you what their weakness is.
yep,
I ain't gotta even
absolutely.
ask you. I know what your weakness is. You can't say I'm
I
sorry.
already know.
You got an accountability problem.
Sometimes the lack of answer is the answer, right?
Bam.
Absolutely. I have a podcast episode where I talk about being a leader, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago. I'm talking about radical candor,
Mm.
right? And so the episode is talking about being a leader and how to create this culture of radical candor. Now, radical candor is this idea that you know how to challenge someone directly, but care personally. So it's like how you give the feedback,
Mm.
right? Because there's different ways to give feedback. You can give it like you a jerk, like you mentioned that manager that you had. You can interact with someone like you don't care, or you can ignore them, ignore the issues, never tell them anything, and just kind of talk about them behind their back, right? But that does neither one of those help. But radical candor is like the sweet spot where you can care personally and challenge directly and give them the feedback. How do you think that giving honest feedback has shaped your personal and professional life? Giving.
Giving. Mm.
Yeah.
Um Giving I have to give personal feedback to like mentees and to even event planners. Like
Mm-hmm.
this was not planned well. this it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work. It's not working because
Mm-hmm.
the 2 hours you wasted in the morning, that's why you're 2 hours behind this evening.
Okay.
Giving,
So
yeah,
you told them it's not working, and you told them why.
yes,
Uh huh.
why it's not working. And I think that I like to say that you got to understand who you talk to,
Yeah.
and because everybody don't receive feedback as feedback. Some people
Mm-hmm.
receive it as criticism, and so you got to know you can't just run down and give it to them. Like some people just like to punch you in the face with it, and that's to me. I think you can't do that to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I want
Yeah.
the results. I want to get you the information. Dad used to say, "I'll put it to you where you can get it. I'll get to you where you can get it." And so um, I like to say I'm a finesse guy. It's like I'll find out how to give you your feedback. Sometimes I make you. Some people I be like I gotta make them feel like it was their idea to improve.
This is Great skill.
You know what I'm saying? Make them feel like it's their idea to improve instead of just always in their face. You know what? You wrong. Like that don't hit the ear right for some people. Some people like, no, I'm not. And they immediately get in defense, and now we arguing about whether I'm right or wrong, and we not fixing the problem.
And you got to be solutions oriented, solutions focused. The whole idea is what you're trying to get to. So not, and the argument is typically not what you're trying to get to
Right.
at all. You're wasting time.
Wait,
You're
again,
wasting
time wasted. I want to get the result. I want to get the goal right. So, that's, I think, and how it's affected my career and my personal life is that it's just that it eliminates doing that. Eliminates me stewing on something. Like, man, they just suck at this. I got to find a way to talk to them about this because what it's doing to me is either making me mad or I'm spending extra time doing something because I know they ain't going to do it the right way. So I end up just not asking them to do it, or, you know what I mean? So,
So what I hear is you give the, like I said, you give the what and the how, right? And then you know your audience. You know who you're speaking with, so you typically know what that person needs in order to respond the best way possible. And I really do think this is a skill because I get feedback a lot at work that says, you really know how to connect with people. You know how to see both sides. And I think a lot of it has to do with my delivery and understanding the person that I'm talking to. So, and also just being honest, honest feedback. This is the what, this is the why, and how can we make this better, right? All three of those components, I feel like, have to be present in order to get the best results. And that's really what you want, is the results.
I want the results, man.
You don't want to tell them they're wrong. You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to do that part. You just have to do that part to get to the other
and
part.
I think that's people's goal sometimes. Like, nah, I want to tell them that they suck, and I'm like, for what?
For what? That's not the important part.
And I'm still not gonna get the results I need because now they're gonna kind of sulk, or you know what I mean? They're gonna drag, and I don't need that professionally or personally. And so I think getting to the one of the things I say in business is I want to get to the no fast in sales. I want to get to the no fast.
Yeah.
So I can get to the no, so I can get to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that is that I don't want to waste a lot of time going back and forth with you about nothing. Hey, this ain't working, and this is why it's not working. And we need to either yes, you gonna do what I'm saying, or no, you're not gonna do what I'm saying. So I know that I need to move on from you. Fail forward all it can, because I just keep on. I'm gonna just keep on moving. Like, oh, that ain't work. Boy,
it works. I
just bumped my head, but let's keep going. So yeah, that's
so. Look, Jake, what would
that helped. It definitely it's helped, and I think that a lot of people should. I like that. What was the word? It's now the candor. What do you call it?
Radical candor.
Radical
candor. Radical candor is a book written by this author named Kim Scott. And I learned about it a long time ago, and I think I started implementing it kind of subconsciously. I don't call it radical candor. That's the name that she gave it. But when I review my way of doing things, I subscribe to this view. So that podcast episode.
But I want to say that I don't want to give the illusion that isn't a constant exercise. Because you're always trying to get that right, and I don't think that we always get that right. Giving feedback, so that's a constant thing for me. It's just like you said, learning people and like, I said that to them and I didn't get the results that I wanted, or they didn't hear me. Sometimes people just don't, because I'll be like saying stuff and it's so simple to me, but they don't receive it, so you got to say it another way.
You got to say it again, but you have to, I know as a leader, you have to take the responsibility. Like, I need to figure out a better way to say this to him. Figure out, maybe even talk to him. Like, what is it that you're missing? So I like to ask that question a lot. It's like, what is it that you're not receiving? What is it that you're missing? Because see, then I'm basically backing myself into a solution. Because if he can tell me, or the person can tell me what they're missing, then I can change up. Because I'm only giving from my filter. I can only process through the filter I have. But if I ask him or ask them some more questions, I can try to get some insight into their filter, and then I can switch things
and this other thing is that we tend to give feedback the way we like to receive it. Like just like love
Yeah.
languages, you tend to love how you like to be loved, and you be like
Yeah.
that ain't hitting. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Is that if you like to receive in your face feedback, then that's the feedback that you like to give, and you give it to
Yeah.
everybody, and it ain't for everybody.
It's not for
You
everybody.
know what I'm
It's not
saying?
for everybody.
And
Yeah.
for me, words are important. I'll tell a person in a minute, like, say that different. I ain't like it. I ain't like how it hit my ear. It don't feel it. Say it different.
I love the advocating for yourself. Say it different. That didn't work. Say that differently, please.
Say that differently, because the way I'm receiving it is about to go left. So I need you to say that differently, so I know. And if you don't say it differently, I know your intentions was to say it to me like that. So now I know how to deal with you. But I mean, like, I ain't like it. Say it different. Choose a different word. Choose a different phrase. And that's so because I'm like that. That's how I like to deliver. I'm like, let me say it so it hits your ear the right way, so I get the thing that I need to get. I don't want to sit here. Now you mad at me. I don't. I think as a leader, you got to know that, you know what, this is how I like to receive things, but I need to find out what works for this person. It's just like being a coach. You just got to figure out how to coach each
Yeah.
player.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you what feedback do you have for managers, or what advice do you have for managers who struggle right now? So if a manager is listening, a boss, a business owner, and they right now have somebody that they need to give feedback to, but they are struggling. They don't know what they're gonna say, how they're gonna say. What would you tell them right now?
Listen first. Listen
Mm-hmm.
first. That's how I do. That's how you do sales. Because people will tell you what they need if you
Mm-hmm.
listen first. But you come in and you got like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. You need to listen first. Like you just
Mm-hmm.
said, like, what's going on? All right, we're not hitting our number, and you have. It might be you need to do this many reviews. What's happening? Why are we not getting? Why are we not hitting the number we need to hit? And the person might tell you, well, I got 35 phone calls that come in every morning, and I'm spending 2 minutes per call. All right, so now I'm 70 minutes of phone time. Well, that's why now that's eating 70 minutes of my day. So you can back in, like you said, back into a solution, but you gotta listen. I think too many people come in and want to act like a leader. They think that I got to come in and chop your head off. And no, this person don't need their head chopped off. So listen
Right.
first and find, because you can get to your answer so much faster if you find out what's going on. You'll save yourself time, and you'll get to the answer that you need to get to much, 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 much faster. And you're not dealing with that for a week. You're dealing with it for this couple of minutes, and you got your answer. That's
And I think the people who are on the receiving end, they are more appreciative when you operate in a way that's like listening, trying to figure out what the problem is, and they're less likely to feel attacked. I think a lot of the issues that I hear employees or contributors on teams, when they bring up an issue, it sounds a lot like they feel attacked. They always feel criticized. They always feel like something is wrong. Now, I always say there's some level of personal accountability that needs to happen on both sides.
always.
That's why I started this conversation talking about personal accountability, because it's on both sides. This isn't just the managers don't know what they're doing. Sometimes your contributors don't know what they're doing. Many times we all are like just struggling. So we have to take accountability. And I think if you have that on both sides, then you can get to what we're talking about, which is the results. And we on the same team. If we working at the same place, we on the same team at work. We're literally on the same team.
I, right.
So
Same thing. I need to get to my answers. And I think a lot of managers here, when I said listen first, a lot of managers here coddling. They like, I ain't got
yeah,
time to be coddling ain't nobody feelings. And that's not what I'm saying. And the thing is, you gonna pay or you gonna pay. Meaning you gonna pay in your time, or you gonna pay in the wages that you giving this employee that ain't supposed to be there. You're gonna pay or you're gonna pay. So just pay in the time in the beginning and be like, let me just listen to this person. Let me find out, because they just might not even be the right person for that role.
yeah. If you listening, you might find that out. There might be something else you can do.
You be like, you know what? This role ain't for you. I know I have who was it? I worked with somebody who was really, really she was high strung. She was just high strung, and she was worrying too much. I was like, this
Mm-hmm.
role ain't for you. Like, because there's too many things that can change, and you can't be in this role. It ain't good for you, because now you got an attitude and you fussing at people. This ain't for you.
It's not for
You
you.
need to do
Yeah.
something else. This is not for you. Which,
Say, did you say it to her like
huh?
that? Did you say it's not for you? Did you say it to her
Yeah,
like that?
I pull it aside and listen.
One on one. You didn't do it in front of
Right.
people. That's key.
Yeah.
That's
I
key.
put aside like, hey, listen, this role ain't for you. So why you say that? I was like, because you are too high and strong. You worry about every little thing, but you worry about the wrong thing. So now, and then it affects how you are communicating with everybody else. And now the whole situation is in uproar because you didn't make a good decision. Ooh, that goes back to something you asked me earlier, and it just popped in my head when I just said that. I had a role where I was a host of an event, but I was also responsible for hiring the brand ambassadors. And
Okay.
I realized that I can't do both roles because those are two different brains.
Mm.
When I had to hire the brand ambassadors, and hey, brand ambassadors, if you listen, I don't like y'all. Um, I'm sorry. Because
I'm
I'll tell you
sorry.
about that industry, but I don't like because it's this sense of entitlement, and they'll apply for a job and then not show up, and now I got to scramble and figure it out. You getting paid anywhere
Accountability.
from 17 to 35 to $40 an hour to hand out Kool-Aid packets, and you got some kind of issue. I don't understand. So but I realized that affected me doing that job because I don't really like them and because I don't understand your lack of accountability. That when now my whole job as a host is to be jovial and entertain them, I couldn't switch. And I had to
Mm.
go to management and be like, I can't do both jobs. It's affecting me. And this is my accountability. It is affecting the way that I deliver the other job that you need me to do. So I have to
Now
take
that
this off my
accountability
plate.
story,
Huh?
yeah, that accountability story is twofold because their lack of accountability basically triggered you to say that this is in contrast to my personal accountability, and you had to do something that is often hard for leaders to do, right? It's often hard for them to admit that I can't do this right here. I can't do that. But that sacrifice is worth the reward, really, because if you can stand up and say, and this is really a leadership trait, leaders listening, because I often say, don't be afraid of what people are going to say. Don't be afraid of the feedback. Don't be afraid if it sounds negative. Being able to say, I can't do something that isn't for me, I shouldn't be doing that, it really helps. It's not a negative. It helps you shine in the end, because if you continue to take on what you're not supposed to be doing, it's going to take away from what you are supposed to be doing, and now you got nothing.
Now you got nothing.
Now you got
I,
nothing. Yeah. Jay, I want to thank you so much for your wisdom and talking about your journey and the incredible stories that you shared with me today. I'm truly inspired, but I'm always inspired because I'm around you all the
I
time. I always get to hear these
feel like
stories.
it's
I
so
just
much
can't
I
believe
ain't
we
told you,
never
but yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I just can't believe we never connected on this. It's like we just never thought about it. You know, one of my first interviews I ever did was of our grandmother, and that's on a VHS somewhere. I got to figure out how to get that off the
Yeah,
VHS.
yeah.
I should have known that that right there was going to lead me to something like this. That was years
Years
ago,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
But this conversation was important because I'm in a position where I'm often talking about accountability. You know, I'm on this series of accountability feedback and just trying to help leaders, business owners, and even the contributors build better workspaces. I'm able to see accountability and the lack of accountability in businesses, and I'm able to see how it's affecting their day-to-day, affecting the morale, and affecting the bottom line. So this was helpful to me, and I appreciate you for being here. Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Now, Jason, before we get out of here, I need to ask you, if people want to get in contact with you, how do they find you, follow you, hire you, get you to how do they get to you?
International J boy. Yeah, I do this all over the world. So I appreciate that. I'm also on 93.9 Power Hits Radio. My show Wild for the Night comes on every single Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 939 Power Hits with a Z.com. You can go there or you can get the app. Apple Podcasts, what have you. But follow me, man. Jason 804. I'm a Richmond boy, and I'll never be nothing different. So Jason 804 is my Instagram. Jason 804 is my Threads. I want people to get back to words. Hit me on Threads and Twitter. Jason 804. I still use these things.
Yeah.
Um,
So grateful for this conversation and the impact that I know is going to have on the leaders who are listening today.
man, I hope.
So if you are listening today and you are a leader that feels stuck at work, struggling to tackle workplace challenges, or wondering how to grow as a leader, support your team better, or even confront your boss, because that's a thing. Sometimes we got to manage up. You are not alone. There are too many professionals that I run into that feel unsupported and unsure of their next steps. And that's exactly why I created the People Power Circle, right? Which is a part of the People Power Project podcast. But the People Power Circle is a space where we don't just talk about thriving at work, we make it happen together. And to join that circle, it's a private circle where you get to go in there, you get group coaching on a weekly basis. We're going to talk about what's going on with you. We're going to give you practical feedback on how you're going to be in a room with like-minded people. Small group, so don't dawdle, because it's going to fill up fast. You go to morgancareyconsulting.com, click offerings, and show your interest using the People Power Circle button. And
I'm gonna be in.
if this, you gonna be in the circle?
Yeah.
You gonna be in the circle. We're gonna have experts talking in the circle. So you making that joke, you might be in the circle. You might be right in the circle. All right, y'all, we got to get out of here. But if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, a coworker, or even a manager. And don't forget to subscribe to the People Power Project podcast wherever you listen to your podcast for more inspiring and actionable episodes. Follow me on Instagram at Morgan_Carey Consultant and tag us with your thoughts using hashtag People Power Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little workplace inspiration. And until next time, remember, people-empowered workspaces are simply the best workplaces. I'll see you next week.
Peace, y'all.